11 has been joined. I think so there are some issues. I will solve it. Just wait a minute, we will start the program. Recently, the participants have to join. There are some issues. Sort it again. Some people are joining me another one. That's the whole link is working, but somebody says the link is not working. Anyway, we will start the program. Let them join. Today we'll have some virtual tour and failures and success stories of entrepreneurs. So just I will share my screen. You just listen to that. In between that, I will try to solve the issue. So I hope my screen is visible. Just now I will try to. Today the whole session will be virtual tour and success stories and failure stories of entrepreneur. Just I will put some videos. Whether the audio and video is good, no one can please reply. Kindly anyone reply whether you can able to hear the audio and the video, you can able to see. Hello? Hello?
Sir?
Dr. Saravanan sir.
Yes,
video,
sir.
video, audio video sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Video
Audio,
is clear.
audio.
Audio is not coming, sir.
Just a minute, I will play. That's now, sir?
Yes, sir. It's okay now.
Okay, there was some issue with others to join. I will.
It's fine, sir.
Amul, the health and wealth builder of the nation, serves fresh and healthy milk to millions of Indians every day.
The milk India drinks every day is collected and processed at the most modern, fully automated and state-of-the-art Amul dairy plants situated across the country.
Let's take a tour to one such Amul dairy plant to know how the milk is processed and packed.
Since 1946, every day in the morning and evening, Amul has been serving people of India and even outside India.
We cannot imagine an Indian morning without a glass of hot milk or a cup of milk tea.
And certainly no one can even dream of Indian sweet dishes without the milk as a part of it, in the form of condensed milk or some other form.
Amul, the taste of India, is the largest producer of milk in the world. It processes healthy and fresh milk in various packs and sizes for various milk requirements of every family.
The combination of calcium and vitamin D present in milk is rare and very essential for maintaining density and strength of bones.
Do you know 150 ml of cow's milk provides 23% of the daily value of phosphorus, 29% of the daily value for calcium, along with 16% of daily value for protein to us?
A household name in India has immense contribution by Dr. Varghese Kurian, the milkman of India, to make it reach there. In his fond memory, India celebrates Dr. Kurian's birthday, November 26th, as the National Milk Day.
Healthy and quality milk is only possible when the animals are provided with quality fodder and feed, good health care and hygienic shelter conditions. Amul extends all these facilities to its more than 3.6 million milk-producing members spread across many states.
Amul provides veterinary doctor services at farm level along with support to dairy farmers to adopt new technology and equipment to produce clean milk, which is most important to maintain complete milk chain hygiene.
It is unbelievable that every day lakhs of dairy farmers use milking machines to milk animals. Dairy has brought a sea change in the socio-economic conditions of the village people, irrespective of caste, creed and religion. Producer members see Amul as a means to climb the rope of development.
A steel milk can has become a symbol of change, and we can see this everywhere. The smiling faces of 3.6 million milk producers of Amul say a happiness story, which even 1,000 words cannot describe.
Every morning, lakhs of village cooperative societies collect milk from its members. It is fascinating to see hundreds of women standing in the line waiting for their turn to pour milk.
A society-trained staff collects the sample.
Dr. Saravanan sir? Or anyone can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sandhanakshmi ma'am, you just share the link which you have login in the group. Kindly share with us. Because some people are joined in another one, 13 or something. That's why I'm asking. Sandhanakshmi, can you share the link
Yes, okay, sir. I'll do that.
in our WhatsApp group? Kindly, ma'am, please.
Okay.
There were some issues. So now I will play the video. Just listen.
Samples and checks for quality parameters instantly. Once confirmed, members pour milk. This continues till all the members' milk gets collected. Every day, twice a day, for 365 days, this is repeated, so Amul customers in 600 cities and towns get uninterrupted milk to enjoy.
This is not a simple job. These cooperative societies have elected board, which regularly decides their own plan of action to promote dairy and keep society functions under check. In the words of Dr. Kurian, cooperatives are people's institutions. To see what milk cooperatives can change, one has to see these functioning.
Once all the milk is collected and stored in bulk chiller, chilled milk is pumped into an insulated tanker under controlled temperature.
Amul has established a direct linkage between milk producers and consumers, eliminating the middlemen. This is the unique and the world-renowned Amul model. Once tankers are filled by chilled milk from the bulk chiller, tankers start their journey to the Amul plant.
Once the tanker reaches the milk receiving dock, the real action starts. First, trained staff takes out the milk samples from the tanker and sends it to the lab. There is a well-defined sample collection procedure and it has to be followed strictly with each tanker.
In the lab, on war footing basis, samples of milk are tested for various parameters. Test results of each sample are recorded in the computer automatically, and the same is communicated to the society from where the tanker has come. Once samples are passed, milk is connected to the milk unloading station and is pumped to raw milk storage silos under low temperature.
Amul is also the torchbearer of renewable energy use in dairy sector. Amul's plants are fitted with solar water heater systems, which supply hot water to various sections of the processing plant.
Now let's see the process. First, the milk is brought into this pre-treatment area from raw milk silos. It is automatically filtered for any bacterial and foreign material impurities. From here, milk goes for pasteurization. I can say this is the first checkpost for milk process.
Milk is heated up to 72.5 degrees centigrade for 15 seconds and then instantly chilled, which kills almost all pathogenic bacteria in the raw milk.
For homogenized milk, milk is passed through homogenizer. Homogenization is a very special process, which makes fat molecules very small under heavy pressure. We can see once these molecules pass through a piston, they break down into fine molecules. This process makes milk and fat nicely mix with each other. It also prevents fat separation and cream plug formation.
Now this pasteurized and homogenized milk is sent to the packing stations where it is packed.
Amul Gold is one among many flag-bearer variant of the milk, which contains minimum 6% fat and 9% SNF.
This high-quality milk is packed in food-grade plastic pouches. Amul has established in-house state-of-the-art plant for various pouch requirements. Every day, the plant makes printed rolls for millions of pouches, which are used at numerous Amul dairy plants situated across India.
These rolls are placed in the pouch packing machines. A trained packing station in charge places the printed food-grade polythene rolls in the machines. From top, milk comes into the processing section to this form, fill and seal machines.
First, this machine pulls the flat sheet of the printed polypack material and then it makes a cylindrical shape by sealing its two side edges. A nozzle fills the required quantity of chilled milk in the cylindrical shape roll and a hot plate cuts and seals the packs. Every minute, this packs around 80 milk packets. In an hour, it forms, fills and seals more than 4,800 packets. At Amul plants, there are large number of such machines working round the clock.
Next, these filled packs move forward, dancing over a food-grade conveyor and an automatic system which drops them in a crate and counts till the required number is placed in.
Once a crate gets filled, it moves forward and an empty crate takes its place. Crate's movement is also fully controlled by a sensor system, which allows or stops the crate's movement depending upon the traffic. Next, en route to cold storage, trained manpower arranges the milk packs properly.
Wow, it is like a traffic signal system, which allows it to stop vehicles on the road. I can say it looks more efficient than the traffic signal system.
I'm going to show you a fully automatic milk packing and handling system, which is the first of its kind in India, and you will be mesmerized.
Oh really? I'm sure Amul can mesmerize anyone. This is Amul Taza filling and packing section. Amul Taza has minimum 3% milk fat and 8.5% SNF. For consumers' ease, it is available in 200 ml, 500 ml, 1 litre and 6 litre packing.
This is India's first robotic milk packing and handling system. Once the fully automatic multiple milk filling system packs and conveyors bring these down to the system, Many robotic arms pick these running packets and keep them in the crates properly. Even the crates' movements are auto-controlled.
This is incredible. I don't think anyone else in India has this system. Next, these filled crates move forward over a conveyor towards a cold room store. A photo sensor counts tirelessly the number of passing crates and records it into the computer in the control room. This gives a firm production data and dispatch planning.
Next, these filled crates move to the other chamber, where again an automatic crate stacking system keeps the crates on top of each other. This is an efficient system and it improves the quality control and a faster process completion.
Now these milk crates are stacked properly in a cold storage, where temperature is maintained below 5 degrees centigrade round the clock before dispatch, which happens twice a day. This low temperature keeps the milk pack fresh.
It is very important to keep empty crates neat, clean and hygienic once they return to the plant after the milk delivery. At every Amul plant, there is a special automatic section where empty crates go through a ritual bath and steam before they enter back to the milk packing section.
In an orderly manner, a worker keeps all the crates upside down over a conveyor, which takes these to a crate bathing chamber. From down on all sides, a healthy shower is given to each crate while they move over the conveyor. Any material in the crates is washed off here.
Once purified, these crates make a queue to get in the packing section. Again, the traffic control system manages their flow towards the packing machines. It really is a routine cycle these crates go through.
Amul is also a pioneer in aseptic packing system. Do you know the aseptic packaging technology is considered as the most amazing food packaging innovations of the 20th century?
For aseptic packing, which is also known as Tetra Pak, already pasteurized milk stored in silos is sent to this section.
Milk from these big store tanks goes to the ultra-high temperature section, also known as UHT section. Amul has many aseptic packing units for various products. Milk in Tetra Pak is processed and packed in this section.
Let us know more about UHT technology. In UHT technology, milk is heated very quickly to 135 to 140 degrees centigrade for a few seconds and then it is brought down to around 20 to 30 degrees centigrade. This quick heating and cooling kills all the bacteria in the milk.
Do you know that milk packed in Tetra Pak can be stored at room temperature for 6 months without any refrigeration?
Next, this milk is ultra heat treated with heat exchanger and cooled to 35 degrees centigrade.
And the milk has the same nutritive value as normal polypack milk?
First, milk is standardized and then preheated and sent to a homogenizer. Homogenization decreases the size and increases the total surface area of flat globules in the milk. Thus reduces the milk's tendency to form a creamy layer at the surface and on contacts with the container.
This is Amul's APS unit. This unit has a capacity to pack 8 lakh liters of milk per day.
Aseptic packing material, which makes various pack sizes, has its own fascinating facts. Like process, this material is also unique. In the packs made with these rolls, milk, milk products and beverages can be preserved for 4 to 6 months without refrigeration unless the packs are opened. Isn't that amazing?
An operator picks up these heavy rolls by a special pick and move lift and takes them to aseptic packaging machines. Next, he gently loads rolls on a feeder section of the APS unit. Let me explain you the exciting technology behind this special packing material.
The aseptic packs consist of 6 layers. Layer 1 is made of polyethylene or plastic which guards against moisture. Layer 2 is paperboard which gives strength and stability to pack. Layer 3 is again polyethylene and this acts as an adhesive for the next layer. Fourth layer is aluminium which acts as a light air and odor barrier and prevents harmful bacteria. Layer 5 is again polyethylene which acts as an adhesive for the innermost layer. The sixth innermost layer is food grade polyethylene which seals the flavor of the products.
After putting the rolls in feeder and fixing it, operator takes a sample after cutting a piece from it for lab testing. This unit works in a closed environment to facilitate a very high standard of hygiene. Operators have to use the disinfectant very frequently to keep their hands clean and pathogen-free.
While packing material rolls in to meet processed aseptic milk, the operator also changes a tape, which seals the sides of the packing material while taking a cylindrical shape at the later stage. It's a special kind of plastic strip, which sits in between the two ends and on heating, sticks them with a smile.
Oh, I have never seen anything like this before. I'm so amazed to see the startling facts and technology behind APS. While from one side the tape is moved to stick, machines pull up the packing material from the other end in a cylindrical shape. At a very high speed, a rolling two-side arm presses, shapes, seals and cuts this, and a wonderful glittering Amul gold milk emerges, which is the most loved standardized long-life milk of India.
This machine makes 25,200 packs per hour, which means 7 packs per second. Let's see it in slow motion. This is incredible. It means 1 packet per human eye blink.
This machine is super fast, that too without human assistance. I can say this machine has its own brain. Amul Taza packs too are made by this machine.
Next, a blower dries these and a printer marks these with a date and a batch number. A laser gun keeps on counting the numbers.
Wow, it's literally fast and furious.
This serpent-like buffer machine is placed en route to continuous automatic packing. This keeps the packs stored for some 5 to 7 minutes so the production does not halt. As soon as it gets a green signal, packets move further towards the packing system.
What a traffic control system! I'm impressed and amazed.
Next, these packs are neatly separated into blocks of 24 and moved by a lever gently to a carton packing station. A vacuum cup pulls a strong corrugated box and places it on a platform to welcome Amul Taza packs. Here, it gently wraps them around from all directions and moves them forward to a conveyor, which takes it onto its further journey.
Amul packs 40 to 45 different variants of milk and beverages, which are basically cut open and consumed. One can enjoy the taste of India anywhere from Thar Desert to the mountains of Himalayas.
Now these cartons are given a shrink wrapping for sturdiness. A machine wraps polythene around these boxes, and when these pass through a hot tunnel, it shrinks and tightly holds on to the boxes from all sides. Now Amul Taza is ready to travel.
Before the boxes move to a lift, a laser beam system controls the movement of boxes and directs them how to board a lift gently. Now the lift takes these boxes to ASRS store system. Do you know Amul aseptic pack products and beverages are available in more than 25 countries?
Samples are taken on regular intervals. Various tests like conductivity tests for leak-proof, stretch tests for strength of joints and so on. Also, boxes are kept under observation for 4 days before sending them to the market.
Amul introduced lactose-free milk first time in India for the people who have lactose intolerance.
I'm confused. What is lactose intolerance?
Okay, let me explain. Few people who have lactose intolerance, a lactase deficiency, have gastrointestinal symptoms when they consume dairy products containing lactose.
Oh, that's so sad.
But no one should be deprived of the taste of fresh milk. Therefore, Amul introduced this lactose-free milk. Amul lactose-free milk has additional lactase enzyme in milk. During aseptic processing and packing of milk, lactase enzyme is added aseptically in the milk so that you can drink it without experiencing gastrointestinal symptoms. Lactase makes the milk taste sweeter too.
Amul, the taste of India, not only provides tasty milk products to consumers but also takes care of their health. Growing children and elders need the additional calcium than what they get from food. In fact, due to modern food habits and junk foods, everyone now needs healthy food supplements which are fresh and full of richness of taste.
Looking at this, Amul launched Calci Plus milk in aseptic packing for these special consumers. Milk is fortified aseptically with additional calcium while it is processed. Once fortified and ultra-heated and packed aseptically, this milk remains nutritive for months.
I have completely lost track now. I find it difficult to remember how many products Amul has first introduced in India. It looks like every innovative dairy product is launched in India by Amul.
Yes, that's why Amul is loved by all.
In APS, it is important to keep the system very hygienic. Therefore, before every shift of production, a fully automatic clean in place CIP system foams and then showers water to clean the machine from outside as well as inside.
Amul Creamer is one product which is in tandem with consumer demand. It is convenient to serve and can be used anywhere, anytime.
It's made in a very special separate section of aseptic packing with a fully automatic processing as well as packing unit.
This unit has a separator, pasteurization, homogenization, ultra-heat treatment and a cooling unit. All machines work in a fashion that is at a uniform speed, and the continuous flow-treated cream keeps on going to the packing machine.
First, the cream is separated with a fully automatic cream separator, and then it is standardized and passes through various stages.
Once milk is converted to cream, it is balanced and kept in store for smooth flow of the process.
Processed and pre-treated cream is sent to the fully enclosed packing unit, where this cream is packed in small blister packs and sealed by a top-printed poly cover.
A food-grade poly pack sheet is fed into the machine. This sheet is first sterilized inside this packing station. Once sterilized, sheet moves forward and a hot die makes the small cup size pack.
From the top of the machine, top cover layer is fed and rollers align its position over the molded cups. Cups are filled with cream inside the chamber and the top layer is spread on this filled cup. A hot plate presses the top layer on the cups and seals it. Now these covered cups attached with the sheet move ahead and a hot knife cuts and separates them.
Playfully, these cups come out from the machines and get packed in cartons. Once they reach a particular number, cartons move ahead and come under the hopper to get filled with a new batch of Amul Creamer.
Next, these packed cartons are stacked nicely in the storeroom to be delivered to the market.
The aseptic pack material nicely packed in delivery cartons reach from all packing stations to a fully automatic modern storage system, which is fully controlled by the computers, which decides where to store the pallets made with these cartons. This system looks futuristic in its outlook.
Pallets are stacked over a 30-meter high specially designed marked place by a robotic system which places and later retrieves these pallets. Therefore, it is called an automatic storage and retrieval system. Fully automated ASRS system chooses the pallets as per the demand from the racks, and the robotic system brings it out to the delivery platform.
A trained forklift operator picks these and places them in the specially designed truck. From the ASRS system every day, Amul delivers fresh milk by specially designed insulated trucks to various cities.
Twice a day, round the year, this delivery works unstoppable. An external agency person keeps the count of the crates, which are loaded in each container.
It is fascinating to see a row of delivery containers on the dispatch platform.
Once fully loaded with different varieties of milk crates, these pouch-packed milk container trucks start their journey to various cities close to the plant.
Amul, the taste of India, delivers customers its favorite fresh and healthy milk so they can enjoy it with a smile. Amul takes pride in serving its millions of customers across India.
Dear participants, this kind of virtual tour and direct industrial visit will motivate the students to become an entrepreneur. That is the reason why Department of Science and Technology is advised us to take you to actually, when you are in physical, we will go for physical too, but due to online, they are asking us to provide some online virtual tours. Third and the second, fourth session will be a interaction with the successful entrepreneurs. The videos are, they have sent some videos, we have taken some videos. All these videos are, I'm happy to say that it is sponsored by some of the participants in the last sessions. They voluntarily, they download it and they asked us to play, right? So thanks for them. And I hope we are all enjoying today. The total session will be virtual tour and discussion with the successful entrepreneurs, videos and everything. So I will play the next one. It will motivate the young students. Next we will go for, first we will see the video, then we will have the success and failure stories. I will put the Amazon that everybody knows that.
Amazon is the world's biggest retailer, and its CEO Jeff Bezos is the world's richest man, for one very good reason. His company is better than anyone else ever at giving people what they want quickly. Amazon acquired its undisputed status as the heavyweight champion of the retail universe thanks largely to its lightning-fast delivery times. The astonishing feat of ferrying hundreds of millions of items, from guitar strings to saucepans to car parts, directly to your door inside 24 hours is nothing short of a modern logistical miracle. So how does Amazon do it? A super smart army of slave robots, for one. Ingenious, if occasionally unscrupulous, management practices are part of the answer too. And the modern-day voodoo of deep learning AI, all of which are made flesh in the most advanced stockrooms the world has ever seen. So join us today as we button up our high-vis jacket and journey inside Amazon's smart warehouses. In the year to September 2020, with the global economy in the teeth of coronavirus and the bleakest employment outlook in history, Amazon reported global revenues of little under $350 billion. That's roughly double what it earned in 2017, by the way, only 3 short years earlier. Not bad for a company which only started trading in 1994. Amazon has built its empire on a platform of sheer, unbeatable convenience for the end user. You, the customer, need a product. So you open the app or have a quiet word with Alexa, and next day, hey presto, it's sitting on your doorstep. Moving products from A to B quickly is not easy. Compared with other modern technology giants which barely need to exist in the real world, think of Netflix, Google or Facebook, Amazon needs to shift an astonishingly vast amount of sheer bulk safely, precisely and quickly all day, every day. So how does it do it? Last year, a senior Amazon executive described Amazon's warehouses, rather poetically, as a symphony of humans and machines working together. How does this symphony actually work? Let's take it from the top. Before you've even logged onto its website, Amazon has a fairly good idea of what you're going to buy. This is all down to the semi-occult 21st century abracadabra that is deep learning AI, which Amazon has been leveraging to incredible effect since around 2015. Put simply, an algorithm makes some assumptions about you based on your age, location, socioeconomic background, and purchase history. It will then, hours, days, or even weeks before you actually log on, ensure that your local warehouse is stocked with appropriate quantities of stock you're likely to consider buying. This might be a certain style of racy swimsuit that the algorithm anticipates will be the hot new must-have come springtime. It might be the paperback novel for a soon-to-go viral TV adaptation. In January 2020, for instance, Amazon's algorithm correctly anticipated high incoming demands for face masks, and, well, we all know what happened there. So Amazon's smart warehouses, also known as fulfillment centers, not to be confused with their post office-style sortation centers, very often know what you want even before you do. Or at least they know the very second you click Buy Now in the case of those wine-inspired late-night impulse buys. Once you've clicked, our symphony begins in earnest. You may have read headlines in recent years suggesting Amazon workers walk as many as 12 miles per shift, darting about between shelves, frantically picking up items. That's no longer quite true. Amazon's modern fulfillment centers are largely patrolled by an army of squat, Roomba-like robots that pick up whole shelves, also known as pods, and bring them to a human picker situated at a stationary workstation. Amazon's enlistment of this whirring battalion began in 2012, when the company purchased robotics company Kiva Systems, the market leader in warehouse automation, for an eye-watering $775 million cash. The company's flagship model, commonly referred to as Kiva, is around 30 centimeters high and capable of lifting 450 kilograms in weight, whilst traveling at around 3 miles per hour. The substitution of these squat orange automatons in place of dashing human workers makes a colossal difference to Amazon's bottom line. It's been estimated that Amazon's warehouses can now hold 50% more stock and retrieve that stock 3 times faster. This reduces the overall cost of fulfillment by some 40%. Cheaper, quicker warehouses mean products that are more affordable for the end user, and crucially, products that are much more likely to be on the van driving down your street the following day. Amazon isn't about to stop there. In a move that could be described as either ruthless or inspired, upon purchasing Kiva, Jeff Bezos changed the name of the company to Amazon Robotics and told all previous Kiva customers, household names like Gap, Walgreens and Staples, they'd no longer be allowed to buy new Kiva technology. This, of course, gives Amazon an incalculable competitive advantage. Since rolling out the Kiva robot across its fulfillment centers, by 2018 they had 100,000 of them, by now that figure has comfortably surpassed 200,000, Amazon Robotics has been refining the design still further. The new iteration of Kiva, known as Pegasus, is 10 centimeters shorter, meaning more can be stocked on top and uses half the parts, so it's cheaper to manufacture and maintain. Amazon says Pegasus can lift a hefty 600 kilograms and can be customized with a conveyor belt to work in the sortation centers, where, Amazon reports, errors in delivery have been halved thanks to Pegasus. Naturally, Amazon isn't quitting there. Last summer, it announced a newer, thinner robot still called Xanthus and coming to a fulfillment center near you. So how do these pimped-out Roombas get around without knocking into each other all the time? Cloud-based software operating what can fairly be described as an AI-run air traffic control network coordinates the route of every single robot. This is all about optimization. What's the quickest route to get to a product that won't interfere with other robots on their own runs? What's the optimum speed, acceleration, and deceleration? As many as 800 robots can be deployed at any one time on the warehouse floor, although in practice, the numbers tend to be kept lower to avoid traffic jams. When their batteries run low, the robots are instructed to find the nearest charging station. Since robots took over the warehouses, changes have been implemented to improve their working conditions. Skylights, for instance, are now covered up, so the robot's sensors aren't confused by glare. Air conditioning units that blow downwards in areas where humans work now blow sideways so as not to topple delicate items from the tops of moving shelves. To navigate, a camera on the robot's undercarriage reads QR codes embedded in the floor, and individual sensors help the robots slow or swerve to avoid obstacles in their paths. Compared with these scurrying warehouse servants, some other robots working at Amazon look almost humdrum and conventional. The so-called Robo-Stow robotic arm, for instance, wouldn't look out of place in an old-school car factory, except it can lift a hefty 1,200 kilograms and manipulate shipping pallets to within 1/10 of a millimeter accuracy. There's also the labeling robots, nicknamed slam machines by human co-workers for their relentlessly percussive racket. These can label up to one package every second. And for a hint of what will happen in the coming years, Amazon recently purchased Canvas Technologies, a firm specializing in autonomous robotic carts. Just picture the most sci-fi drinks trolley you can imagine. Robots, of course, are only part of the story inside Amazon's smart warehouses. Even the company's most fervent futurists admit the notion of complete automation is a decade away, and even then probably won't happen. So what of the human side? Amazon's management techniques, in concert with all that automation, have made the business astonishingly lean and mean by historic standards. In 2016, it was estimated that by bringing everything in-house, as opposed to all the duplication inherent in a standard high street or shopping mall, Amazon requires only half the employees a traditional retailer might, per $10 million in sales. What are all these humans, hundreds of thousands across the world, actually doing then? Well, since Kiva and its robotic heirs took over, there's much less rushing around than there used to be. But there's still plenty of tasks requiring dexterity and problem solving. The two most common roles still done by humans are stowing and picking. When goods arrive at the fulfillment centers, they're stowed by humans onto shelves or pods to be collected later by the robots. The pickers then pick the specific item from the shelves when the robots come by, then send it on to be packed. Workers on the picking side are encouraged to work fast in order to maintain their so-called rate. If workers' rate falls below expectations, employees can be disciplined and ultimately sacked. According to one ex-employee, this rate can be challenging to fulfill. 120 items per hour when they started at the company, rising as high as 280 items per hour just 3 years later. Errors are also punished. According to the same ex-employee, workers were once permitted 1 error per 1,000 items, but now they're only allowed 1 per 2,200. The rates only get more challenging during Prime Day when sales on Amazon skyrocket. One way Amazon encourages workers to make rate is through gamification or making the whole thing into a game. So instead of a plain old-fashioned graph telling workers where their productivity stands in relation to the rate, workers instead play and compete on in-house games with names like Picks in Space, Mission Racer, or Castle Crafter. So essentially, the faster and more accurately employees pick stock, the faster their little pixelated car moves around the track. Other incentive schemes, such as in-house currency swag bucks, reward hard work with Amazon-branded merch such as water bottles or t-shirts. Amazon has regularly found itself in the firing line for its intense working practices. According to reports, as many as 14,000 serious injuries occurred at Amazon sites in 2019, a per-employee rate of nearly double the industry standard. Deaths are infrequent, but not unheard of. In the UK alone, during the 3 years to 2018, ambulances were called to Amazon warehouses 600 times. For its part, Amazon is keen to stress it invests tens of millions of dollars into workers' safety awareness programs, but there's no denying injuries spike around Prime Day. So are Amazon's ultra-efficient warehouses ultimately a force for good? While COVID-19 laid waste to vast swathes of the conventional retail landscape, this year Amazon has been processing up to 40% more orders than expected. In the month leading up to March 23rd alone, toilet paper sales increased 186%, sales of cough medicine skyrocketed 862%, and children's vitamins went up 287%. Plainly, in a world where going to the shops can be a risky business, Amazon is fulfilling a need, and as such, ever greater numbers of people are relying on it. Will the robots steal our jobs then? The outlook is unclear, but within Amazon, it's plain to see that humans are still needed for many aspects of the work. And even if robots can one day stow or pick as fast as humans, dealing with mini crises like leaking paint pots on a fast-moving conveyor belt or identifying ripe bananas on site will still need the human touch for some time to come. Whatever the future brings, Amazon's new $40 million robotics lab just outside Boston, for instance, or its tantalizing patent for airship-like floating fulfillment centers, one thing can be guaranteed. As long as we're all buying, Amazon will keep on delivering.
The participant now we have seen Amazon how they are using that, because it is the just a minute I will show you from the room, because the students will enjoy that Amazon, about the Amazon, they know about the Amazon and they should know how they are doing that in the warehouse. Now we'll move on to the logistics, each and every just I will play this one and then I will go to next real video. Just see what is logistics.
Logistics companies plan, implement, and control the movement and storage of goods, services, or information within a supply chain and between the points of origin and consumption. Various logistics companies handle some or all of these supply chain functions, depending on a client's logistical needs. Logistics is a term synonymous with the military. In times of war, supplying troops with the proper equipment and supplies was a logistics function. Logistics has evolved since the 1950s with the rise of consumerism and the subsequent growth of more complex supply chains. Coordinating the movement of supplies and materials is now a globalized process. Today, the business sector uses logistics as a term to describe the efficient flow and storage of goods from point of origin to the point of consumption. The supply chain is a vital part of this process. A proper supply chain may include transportation, shipping, receiving, storage, and management of all or one of these functions. Logistics may also apply to information, transportation, inventory, warehousing, material handling, packaging, disposal, and security within the business sector. Understanding logistics and management and business. In simple terms, the goal of logistics management is to have the right amount of a resource or input at the right time, getting it to the appropriate location in proper condition, and delivering it to the correct internal or external customer. For example, in the natural gas industry, logistics involves managing the pipelines, trucks, storage facilities, and distribution centers that handle oil as it is transformed along the supply chain. An efficient supply chain and effective logistical procedures are essential to reduce cost and to maintain and increase efficiency. Poor logistics lead to untimely deliveries, failure to meet the needs of clientele, and ultimately cause the business to suffer. The concept of business logistics has been transformed since the 1960s. The increasing intricacy of supplying companies with the materials and resources they need, along with the global expansion of supply chains, has led to a need for specialists known as supply chain logisticians. In the modern era, The technology boom and the complexity of logistics processes have spawned logistics management software and specialized logistics-focused firms that expedite the movement of resources along the supply chain. One reason large online retailers like Amazon have come to dominate the retail landscape is the overall innovation and efficiency of their logistics along every link of the supply chain. Manufacturing companies may choose to outsource the management of their logistics to specialists or manage logistics internally if it is cost-effective to do so. There are 7 key functions of logistics company. A logistics company is an entity that designs, controls, and manages another company's supply chain. The logistics company can operate during supply procurement, storage, transportation, order fulfillment, and distribution, depending on the commercial agreement between the two involved parties. Logistics entails a wide range of responsibilities and functions. Following are the key functions of a logistics company. Number 1, order processing. Order processing is an essential task for a logistics company. The logistics activities begin with order processing, which may be the responsibility of the logistic company's commercial department. The commercial department ensures that the payment and delivery terms are met before processing the order within the company. Number 2, materials handling. This is the act of moving goods around the warehouse. Known as material handling, it entails managing the inventory in a way that allows the warehouse to fulfill orders quickly and accurately. Even though it appears to be a routine job, it is critical and must be done regularly. Number 3, warehousing. If we take LG or Samsung as an example, these are durable consumer companies with a global presence. While their products may be located in one location, their distribution is global. As a result, warehousing has a significant impact and is an essential logistics activity. It is important to note that the warehouse must be close to the retailer or distributor to deliver goods quickly. If a branded product takes a week to deliver, it may not move as much in the market as a competing unbranded product that takes only 2 days to deliver. As a result, it makes sense for the brand.
Just a minute, some disturbance are there from the participants. I will check. Sorry for the inconvenience. Now we will.
Company to establish a more convenient warehouse to provide the products quickly. A brand's first move in a new territory is to lease a new warehouse, allowing it to be closer to the region and the end customers. This is a common practice. Logistics centers are strategically placed so that the main warehouse, large warehouses that stock most products, isn't overburdened. These warehouses can take the pressure off deliveries and become interdependent to ensure that goods are delivered to customers when demand is high or production is low.
On time, whether clothing, printer spare parts, or a set of screws. According to statistics database Statista, online shopping is booming. In 2018, courier, express and parcel services, the so-called CEP sector, delivered around 3.5 billion shipments in Germany alone. And this is an upward trend. But how does all this work so smoothly, safely, and on time? After all, we live in turbulent times. Digitalization, climate crisis, growing world population, and political and economic instability. How does the logistics industry rise to such challenges? For answers to these questions, we need to delve deep into the world of modern logistics. Our film takes us into huge, fully connected warehouses watching as fleets of cargo planes are prepared for takeoff at night, and accompanying couriers on delivery bikes on the last mile to the customer. We look at one of the world's largest logistics providers at work, Deutsche Post DHL Group. From 1989, this company has grown from Germany's state-owned federal postal service, Deutsche Bundespost, into a public limited company. Since 2002, the originally American Express parcel and letter service, DHL, has been part of the group. Our trip into the world of logistics starts in the Netherlands, in Beringen to be precise. Located here is a smart warehouse that's as big as 18 football pitches put together. Around 100,000 parcels are handled here every day. And in the middle of this vast facility is a parcel we have an extra special interest in. A member of staff has just received information on the screen of his smart glasses, telling him where to take it. In today's smart warehouses, machines and computers now do jobs so people no longer have to. But what actually happens when people hand over control to machines? A good example is our parcel. It only looks like it's alone on this great long journey, because once it has a code, it's tracked in the system. So on its long journey from this point onwards, it will be fully monitored by highly complex camera and computer systems. It will actually only briefly pass through human hands. Someone who has helped shape this fully digital process is Rick van den Broek. He knows exactly how the smart warehouse works and is in constant contact, sharing information with international logistics experts from Deutsche Post DHL.
And we're more looking into solutions of robotization, working together with human workers within the warehouse on one hand, but also artificial intelligence and big data crunching is getting more and more important. In a whole warehouse like this, where you have 600 to 800 people working, you collect a lot of data of volume, of handlings done within the solution. And now we're learning how to use that data, analyze that data to even within our supply chain find bottlenecks, find improvements based on terabytes of data, and also assist our customer in almost predicting their forecast and almost saying, look, if you change this or that in the process, we can find a more efficient flow outwards toward your end customer.
However, modern logistics have not only existed since digitalization. Logistics originated in the military. The Romans already organized supplies for their armies. Since the 1970s, if not before, the importance of logistics, so transport, handling and storage, has increased internationally. Today, logistics consists of local networks like manufacturers, dealers, and logistics and waste disposal contractors. Together, they ensure the so-called value chain from the source of the raw material through to the product and its eventual disposal. To understand what all this means for modern logistics companies, we talk to a top international supply chain expert. DHL supply chain is probably one of Deutsche Post DHL Group's least visible business areas for end users. But it is one that affects our daily lives the most. We are responsible for ensuring the goods we all consume and need are in the right place at the right time. We currently employ 140,000 people worldwide. We grow at double-digit rates every year. Hiring as many staff as that would not even be possible. Finding enough specialists to join us to master this feat of logistics is a challenge. We are forced to automate and digitalize more to rise to this situation and achieve high efficiency and process accuracy. Because after all, you want the right product to arrive at your home and not something someone else might have ordered. These are services the company is aiming to provide without generating harmful greenhouse gas emissions by no later than 2050. Initiatives like solar power production and, above all, electromobility will help to achieve this goal. For instance, by using their own CO2 neutral electric delivery van, the Street Scooter. This is also to be powered by a hydrogen engine in the near future. Every day we have to work at becoming more efficient and more sustainable, and at delivering on our promise to customers to be carbon neutral. Another aspect really is also about geopolitical change. We are seeing more and more protectionism, and we now have to adjust supply chains accordingly. Supply chains that previously operated very globally. Brexit is of course the word on everyone's lips right now, and the key here is good preparation for our customers, so supply chains can continue to run reasonably smoothly. As consumers, we are triggering the growth in logistics worldwide with our orders. It's really at the shipping stage when it becomes apparent how reliably a parcel service is able to handle the increasing volume of shipments we are now facing. State-of-the-art technologies are used in warehouses across the globe to ensure customers receive their orders on time. In the near future, will logistics form the backbone of our society more than ever before? We leave our logistics world for a moment to head to Hamburg to pay a visit to a specialist in future trends. Of course, it's all about anticipating the future and developing your best strategies. This means that if we know the future, we know the desired future, we can develop our strategies in good time and perhaps be faster than the competition. Logistics is the backbone. I always say that logistics is our operating system. Actually, it's the operating system for the whole world. And just like with the operating system on your computer, where no program will run without it, logistics is the city operating system, the global operating system, enabling us to run the whole economy on it. There's one place we can watch this operating system at work, a place that almost never sleeps. We're in Leipzig, the largest DHL air freight center in the world. This Deutsche Post DHL hub runs like a whole airport in its own right. Only here, it's not passengers being checked in, but goods. Every night, hundreds and thousands of documents, parcels and goods from all over the world arrive here. They are then sorted, customs cleared, and loaded onto other planes for onward transport. Every 6 minutes, DHL's own cargo jets or those of partner airlines land here at night. They have to be unloaded and loaded in a very short space of time so they can take off again. Only by maintaining this pace can goods be delivered on time. Only like this can we as customers open our parcels the morning after placing an order. It's 7:30 p.m. This is when the Air Hub shift starts. Also for its boss, Ralf Wunderak, from the Network Control Center, he and his team will be monitoring all processes during the night ahead. By 10 p.m., if not before, the facility will be working flat out. So what's key here? Evening, or rather night, is falling. Tonight we're expecting about 70 planes. Tonight we will sort 350,000 to 400,000 shipments, which we will fly to 50 destinations. Then, at the strike of 10 p.m., it's time. From the outside, to a layperson, it looks like chaos is breaking out inside the hub. Nothing could be further from the truth. A well-rehearsed team of over 2,500 people gets going. They unload, stow, pack, heave, lift, load and transport in continuous cycles. It might look like a concert of chaos, but it is actually a well-oiled machine. A choreography of people, machines and software. The planes coming in at night, 70 of them, are coordinated by our teams, you can see in the background here. This means as the flights approach, they are also monitored. Once landed, the planes are moved into their parking position to then be unloaded. In each of these planes, there are containers with many shipments, which are then transported to the terminals via transport wagons. There, they are sorted, and then on the other side they go out again and back to the plane. One part of the air hub is the sorting center. This huge building is just under a kilometer long. It holds 47,000 meters of sorting belts, covering a distance longer than a marathon. Around 2,000 tons of freight are handled here every night. And amongst this incredible mess of cargo is our parcel. It's just arrived, and now it has to be unloaded, forwarded inside the terminal, registered, loaded, and transported further on its journey. The parcel's due for delivery tomorrow morning in Frankfurt city centre. One of our biggest challenges is managing our intercontinental flight network. Whatever the weather and whatever the delay, this means when a plane from Hong Kong or Abu Dhabi or wherever it comes from arrives late due to weather issues like these behind me, then it's up to our staff to keep calm as always, trust in their experience, and get the shipments to the right aircraft and to the customer with great skill and experience. Despite any adverse circumstances, just like they always do, even on nights like this. Now, it's on the so-called apron. Every 6 minutes since 10 p.m., cargo planes from all over the world have been flying in here. This place is all about meticulous precision, and of course, it's about timing. An Airbus A330 is due to arrive from Amsterdam at midnight, and it has to leave by no later than 2:30 a.m. Is that doable? The clock's ticking. The plane's on time. Suddenly, we are standing in front of a huge roaring jet. We're told not to get too close to the turbines, otherwise we could get sucked in. As soon as the plane has reached its parking position, everything goes very quickly. Several teams are at the ready and immediately set to work. To ensure everything runs smoothly on the ramp, the process is monitored by a dedicated member of staff. This is a task that demands nerves of steel. With the clock ticking, a team of 7 people unloads and loads the plane. Maintenance and refueling goes on at the same time. Snatching a rare opportunity to chat in this high-pressure environment, we talk to the ramp supervisor in charge of the team loading and unloading the planes.
I'm ramp supervisor and we are here at the DHL hub in Leipzig. We work right in front of the plane. I've been a supervisor for 7 years now, and with my team I'm in charge of loading and unloading. The greatest risk weather-wise is when we have thunderstorms. If there's a thunderstorm within a 5-kilometer radius, we have to stop loading, or in heavy rain we stop so the plane doesn't get too wet inside. And the biggest danger for us is also always having to work in the dark on night shifts. Lots of traffic, lots of hustle and bustle, and the pressure to get the planes out on time. We're unloading at the moment. Here, the most important thing is to check the cargo coming in and to make sure everything's in order. The same goes for outbound flights. When the planes go out, checking the cargo is properly secured, that dangerous goods are secured, that the cargo is properly loaded, and that everything goes out properly and safely. We're seeing a constant upsurge. The volume of freight keeps rising every year. This is really noticeable, especially as we edge towards Christmas. Volumes keep going up every week, bit by bit. Key here is good management and keeping your cool, as well as safety first to make sure no one gets hurt and that aircraft handling goes smoothly.
This cargo carrier is ready for takeoff. It took less than 2 hours. Now it's heading for Bergamo in Italy. It's due to be unloaded there in about an hour. After the co-pilot has personally done another check, off it goes. The plane is being pushed back into position. Then it disappears into the night. But things are far from done at the Leipzig hub. They work here through to the early hours of the morning, in all weathers, almost 365 days a year. Our parcel will be delivered tomorrow morning in Frankfurt. Is the future of logistics already being shaped here at places like this hub? And how will logistics evolve? Autonomous logistics is of course a big field that will see many processes fully automated, from entire infrastructure and intra-logistics to urban logistics and final delivery. We can imagine autonomous shops, which, like autonomous cars driving around the city, will bring goods to customers and completely staffless stores going the last mile to the customer. So it's like the customer has the shop on their doorstep. The next day, our parcel has almost made it. We're in Frankfurt city center. This special container has been here in front of the district court for 2 years now. Basically, it works very much like the Colossus of Leipzig, but this little city hub is not even 10 meters long. It is loaded with shipments and parcels by a courier driver in a delivery van. From here, it continues by muscle power. Bicycle couriers pick up the parcels and deliver them across the city. What's this last mile delivery all about? This city hub allows us to have a transit hub very close to our customers in the city center. It's extremely hard to find suitable logistics space in the city, where you can start early in the morning, sort and have access. And this micro depot solves exactly this problem. The city of Frankfurt has kindly provided us with 3 parking spaces to set up the depot, which means from here we can reach our customers locally by bike. So this definitely solves the problem of real estate availability. Then obviously there is the environmental aspect. By delivering by bike, we save about 20 tons of CO2 per year. This is roughly how much CO2 2.5 delivery vans would produce in a year. That's the saving we have here. The third advantage of this micro depot is the positive impact on traffic flow in the city center, because courier vehicles are no longer clogging up whole streets, double parking and parking in no waiting zones, because even when we deliver, traffic flow can continue quite normally. Our parcel has the last few yards to go. In the dense traffic of a big city, bicycles are of course unbeatable. They are eco-friendly, fast and maneuverable. And most importantly, the parcel is on time. We noticed it was getting harder and harder with big delivery vans here in the city center. With more and more traffic and fewer loading bays, it's busier and busier. So as far as the actual city centre is concerned, with our bikes we are incredibly flexible and much faster than with vehicles like that, with vans. While they have to drive around here, we get through straight away. Especially around here on the Zeal, the city centre, the banking district, where no one can normally get through. We get through on our bikes and we can make our delivery stops there. That's the big advantage. Goods are handled, shipped, loaded and unloaded worldwide at this speed, day and night. A never-ending cycle, monitored and controlled by computers, artificial intelligence, robots, and guided and performed by humans. Who is behind inventions like this, and what does the future hold? Large companies don't reveal every stage of development for current or upcoming products, but here at this place we can find out about the near future. Deutsche Post DHL's Innovation Center near Bonn exhibits technical products that are already in use or soon will be. There are drones here that fly along high racks and help with inventory, or transport robots that autonomously follow employees ready to carry any load, or monitoring sensors that check the temperature of medicines during transport. The three top trends we're currently seeing that will have a very strong impact on logistics in the medium term are most definitely automation and robotics, IoT, the Internet of Things, which in particular ensures greater transparency in our flows of goods. And the third topic we regard as extremely relevant is artificial intelligence, which we are already seeing on a daily basis, but which will also have a similar impact on our industry in the future. Modern logistics are undergoing constant progress at the interface of research, development, testing, and application. The near future has definitely already begun here. Technologies like artificial intelligence, collaborative robotics, or delivery by drone are already in use here. What's more, logistics themselves are part of another trend, the trend of mobility. So where are these two mega trends headed? Mobility is actually about three factors. The first is zero emissions. We want to offer mobility with the lowest possible emissions. The second is zero waste. We also have to think about zero waste across all automobile production processes and mobility offers. And thirdly, there is zero latency. This is really about getting from A to B as fast as we can. We see this especially in logistics. We don't want to wait another 3 days, so the delay should be as short as possible, which means we want to get everywhere as quickly as possible. This is also shown by the Hyperloop that allows us to travel at 1,000 kilometers per hour around the world, and that's the goal. Zero emissions, zero waste, and zero latency. It seems to us the logistics megatrend is data-driven automation and innovation. Logistics also stand out with their internationality, precision, and speed. But at their core, logistics services remain charmingly unchanged since the beginning of the postal sector around 500 years ago. It's still all about delivering on time. And companies like Deutsche Post DHL Group work to achieve this goal using state-of-the-art methods, day and night. And they do so in ways that are now safer and more environmentally friendly than ever.
So now we see some entrepreneurial failures that will make it difficult.
Thank you, Ayo. It's always encouraging when they say such good things about you. But for those of you who didn't get my name is Manish. It's very simple, money-ish. You say it You combine them, money, Manish. I guess my parents knew my love for money, and that's why they named me Manish. So, anyway, I just wanted to emphasize that, even though you look at me and you feel there's an Oibo standing in front of you, I'm actually not an Oibo. I was born in Africa, and I'm second generation African. So I'm as African as some of you sitting in the audience. But had the privileges of studying in some of the best universities in England and America. But I really came back to Africa to pursue my lifelong ambition, which was entrepreneurship. And I've been an entrepreneur for more than 25 years. The purpose of today's talk is to basically share with you my entrepreneurial journey. But before I want to do that, I want to stretch the stage by just introducing you to the business a bit so that you can understand the context of my entrepreneurial journey. Our business globally is called Afri Global Group. In Nigeria, we've existed for more than 25 years under the name of Nagode, and it's a conglomerate, as has been said before. We operate in various sectors: petrochemicals, chemicals, soft commodities. We are into logistics, healthcare in a big way. In terms of turnover in Nigeria, our turnover is upwards of 30 billion naira, and we are truly a global company. We have operations in Dubai, China, Korea, India, Cameroon, and Ethiopia. And as we speak, we keep on opening up more and more geographies in Africa. But some of you might be wondering, am I trying to brag about myself, about my company? Why am I telling you all this? The reason I'm telling you all this is to basically share with you about my journey and to tell you about the success. And actually, the main purpose of what I want to share today is talk about the failures. So I wanted to basically say to you that a lot of successful people do not talk about their failures. They basically only talk about their successes. And I felt that it's a very good opportunity for me today in TEDx to talk about the failures and what I learned from them. And that's something which I will focus on. So it might not surprise you that my entrepreneurial journey has had various ups and downs, and that's very natural. You cannot be an entrepreneur for 25 years without having failures. But some of you might not know, and some of you might not realize that some of the failures were really bad. And when I meant bad, it means I've been bankrupt more than 2 times. In my 25 years journey, I've actually had situations where I've been bankrupt. And it was so serious that at some point, my wife, who used to live with me in Lagos, and now we are based out of Dubai, but used to live with me in Lagos, used to actually sleep at night in the car because that was the only time she could have access to the AC, and I didn't have enough money to even fix the generator. So it was, those were days which were very challenging for me. And when one talks about bankruptcy, I always like to share one of my funniest story about bankruptcy. Yeah, some of you must be familiar with Donald Trump in New York, right? So when Donald Trump was once taking a walk in Central Park with his friend, and he sees somebody who's called a panhandler. In America, they call beggars panhandler. So he sees a panhandler, and he tells his friend, Chuck, this guy is actually richer than me. So the guy says to him, Donald, what do you mean this guy is richer than me, or is richer than you? So what Donald tells him, he says, friend, this guy is at best 0. I am minus $2 billion. So this guy is definitely richer than me. So that was exactly my situation. I was owing people millions and in fact billions of nairas when I was bankrupt. Yeah, I think even another lady, the speaker before me, Cynthia, she also talked about the fact when she was owing a lot of money. So bankruptcy is not fun, guys. Apart from the fact that I was owing people a lot of money in a lot of creditors and a lot of people I was owing a lot of money. One of the challenges which I faced, and which is very peculiar to being an entrepreneur in Nigeria, and I guess the environment here, or probably Africa, is that in this environment, when you owe people money, it's not a civil thing, it's a criminal offense. and everybody tries to shake you down. So I've been shaken down by the police, I've been shaken down by customs, I've been shaken down by immigration, I've been shaken down by SSS, NAVDAC, every possible agency possible. And when it means by shakedown, it is not that they just came to my office and harassed me for money. I've actually been in a cell. I've actually been in a cell in a papa, And I remember, very clearly in my own experience, going to the cell and, how they do it. They take out, you have to wear the clothes and all that. And you go there, and I was introduced to the president of the cell, who was called His Excellency. I had to go and meet His Excellency, who was the chairperson of the cell, and introduce myself to him. And then he said to me, and I still remember it very clearly today, he said to me, "Welcome to Burkina suffering." So, but it was I think in life you realize when you're determined and when you put your mind to it, at the end of the day, no situation is permanent, and I realized that I got the mental toughness which I still get today. Of course, another thing which I'd like to share with you in terms of failures is, for those of you in the audience who aspire to be entrepreneurs, who aspire to be successful, one tip I'd like to give you is, the biggest source of challenges in our business is not the competition, it's not out there. It's basically our staff sometimes who bring the biggest challenges. And in my own experience of 25 years of being an entrepreneur, I have lost hundreds and hundreds of millions of naira to frauds by staff. So guys, that always happens. Of course, in my own experience of 25 years, I've had situations where my factories, my warehouses have burned down, there were floods, and all kinds of issues like that. So in the end, if somebody wants to be an entrepreneur, if you ask me, my mantra to him would be to tell him, those of you who've heard of Murphy's Law, right? Murphy's Law says, what does it say? It says, everything which could go wrong will go wrong, yeah? If you ask me, in my experience, everything which can go wrong will not go wrong once, it will go wrong at least 10 times. So be prepared for it, guys, if you want to be an entrepreneur, yeah? So I wanted to just share with you next, please, is on my learnings and what I learned out of all the failures I had. And I've titled that, How Do You Get Out of a Big Hole? In my experience, the way one gets out of a big hole in business when one is facing all these situations is very, very simple. Stop digging. I'll say it again. The way you get out of a big hole is stop digging. And what do I mean by stop digging? What I meant by stop digging is, the first thing one has to do when one is in a situation like this, in a business failure situation, in my experience, what I did is, I confronted the brutal facts. And on the business situation, of course, it was easy. I looked at the businesses. I looked at the businesses which were making money, losing money, looked at the businesses I wanted to keep, businesses I wanted to sell, businesses I wanted to close down. And that was quite simple. But one of the things which is extremely important in a situation of business failure is to look at the issue of stakeholder management. And my most important stakeholders were my staff and the people I was owing a lot of money, banks and creditors. With the staff, what I did, and I feel it worked for me, is I remember I called all my staff in a town hall meeting, told them openly and clearly, the company is in trouble. Don't worry, we'll get out of it one day. We'll get out of it, and presented them the plan of action. But at the same time, I told the staff that whoever wants to leave, let them leave quickly rather than later. And of course, some of the mouse really left, and that's what happens when people perceive a sinking ship. But with my creditors, the strategy which I used, and I would recommend to anybody in a situation like that, is make sure one over communicates. So I made it a point to communicate with them, to talk to them, made sure before they call me to call them. Many people used to think this Oibo is going to run away from Nigeria. So I told the bank managers and all that, is that come and have breakfast with me every morning so that you can go and tell your MD of the bank that this guy is still not run away. So, in situations like this, it's all, what worked for me is over communication. I think I wouldn't like to I wouldn't like to end on the issue of business failures without telling you what is the most important issue about business failures. I think the most important issue in business failures is managing your own state, managing your emotions, managing your thoughts, managing your own well-being. The first thing I did is, and it's something which is a habit I still have today, is every morning for half an hour or 1 hour, I used to read inspirational books or something which was, listen to some talks. In those days, we didn't have TED, but today, I find TED a very inspirational platform to hear people's stories. And, that somehow has a way of setting you up for the whole day. And the second thing I did is, in the evening, I used to write a gratitude journal. Very simple. 5 things which are good about my life. And somehow the gratitude journal and the inspirational stuff in the morning put me in a condition that I was able to deal with all these issues and challenges in my life. I would just like to say something about what my experience taught me. And one of the most inspiring thing for me is, even yesterday when I was coming to IFE, I'd heard about IFE a lot. Great IFE. Can I please ask Great IFE to give a round of applause to yourselves, please? Because I always heard about this university, and I never had the privilege of visiting it. But it's truly special. You come here and you can feel the energy, you can feel the people, you can feel basically, it's a culture of excellence. So you can give yourself a round of applause one more time, guys. Yeah. So can I say something about my contribution in terms of solving X, or my thoughts about solving X, is that what Nigeria needs, what Africa needs is role model inspirational companies. We need a lot more Googles and Apples in Africa, and it's your job, your guys' duty. I think you guys are up to it. Please go for it and create those companies. And I would say, in conclusion, that in my own little way, my company, my group, and my endeavors are also trying to build and contribute to inspirational companies in Africa. So thank you. You've been a really good audience, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts. And in the end, I just like to dedicate my speech today to my folks and my grandmother, who taught me that values are more important than things. Thank you, and God bless.
Participants, see, this guy has been bankrupted 2 times and he come back again. So this kind of failure stories will motivate the students to not to end. Again, another story. See, these are the videos are shared by our participants, and they want these to be played to the students and other things. So you can utilize this. I will share another why Indians.
A good number of startups are shutting operations with the same speed
Kind
they
of
were
videos
formed,
can
leading
motivate the
to
students.
job losses now.
2021 was the peak of funding for many startups, but from the start of 2022, we've seen over 5,000 employees rendered jobless. Some of the startup founders say one of the major reasons for these massive layoffs has been the pressure from the investors on profitability and the efforts to cut cash burn.
More than 11,000 employees in the startup universe have been fired in recent weeks. Some of them are celebrated startups, from an Unacademy to a Meesho to Baiju's White Hat Junior. The list goes on and on and on.
Hi everybody. In the past 2 years, the Indian startup ecosystem has seen an extraordinary rise in funding. And all kinds of startups, including EdTech, FinTech, MedTech, all of them have received millions of dollars in funding. And in just the year of 2021 alone, the Indian startup ecosystem saw $41.4 billion in funding and the rise of 42 new unicorns. But as soon as 2022 started, suddenly there's bad news coming from all directions. The losses of these companies have been piling up. Mass layoffs have started, with over 9,000 employees being laid off from reputed companies like Vedantu, Cars24, Ola and others. Fundings have slowed down, and even highly funded companies are going out of business. So the question is the gold rush of the Indian startups about to end? How will this crazy startup crash affect the business ecosystem of India? And most importantly, as students of business, what are the study materials to help you understand the startup bubble of India? This video is brought to you by Deserve, but more on this at the end of the video. The answer to this lies in a statement made by my history teacher, and she said, if you want to understand the future, go back and study the past. History always repeats itself because we don't pay attention the first time. So if you want to understand what is going to happen in India, you must study a similar bubble that happened in the past, and immediately you will have the superpower to predict the future. In this case, the classic case studies to understand the startup bubble of India are the electrical revolution and the dot-com bubble that happened in the United States of America. By the way, if you know all about the dot-com bubble, please skip to this timestamp. And if you don't, here's a very simple explanation of the dot-com bubble. The story of the dot-com bubble dates way back to the 1990s, and during this time, computer penetration in the United States started reaching extraordinary levels. And as you can see from this graph, the market was literally growing by 100% every 2 years. And just like all of us in India suddenly got access to internet in 2016, back then millions of people in the US started having an internet connection for their computers. And just like today we have startups popping up from every corner of the country, back then internet companies were flooding the American markets. And since most of these companies were website-based companies, they had a .com suffix attached to their name, like Amazon.com, eBay.com, Diaper.com, etc. And just like every other startup in India is raising millions of dollars today, back then investors were so bullish on .com companies that even if you did not have a business plan, even if you did not have a product, if you only had a website, you could get a $1 million funding, as in 7 crores of funding right away. And amongst these companies were also legendary companies like Amazon, eBay, and even Google. So when so much money started pouring into the market, 3 crazy things happened. Number 1, every other startup started commanding $1 million and $1 billion valuation. Number 2, many of these companies went IPO and saw record-breaking openings. So investor sentiments became even more optimistic. And last and most importantly, barely any of these companies were profitable. And if you look at the stock market of the US during that time, the spikes were both tempting and scary. This bubble kept on ballooning for 10 long years from 1991 to 2000, and from 2001 onwards, just like any other bubble, suddenly investors started pulling out from these startups one by one and the market started crashing. Within a few weeks, the US stock market lost 10% of its value, and what happened next is even today known as one of the darkest times in the American markets. All million-dollar funding started to dry up, thousands of employees were fired to cut cost, hundreds of startups which were once said to be million and billion-dollar startups went bankrupt, and in total, the investors lost $5 trillion of wealth from 2000 to 2002. This was the result of the dot-com bubble. But you know what, guys? The catch over here is that the very same dot-com bubble that actually wiped off so much of investor wealth actually gave rise to incredible startups like Amazon, eBay, Priceline, and even Google. And all these companies did not just survive, but even excelled into multi-bagger stocks, and more importantly, turned into a revolutionary set of companies that have changed the world altogether. So this begs the question, what type of companies went bankrupt and what killed these companies? Now listen to this very carefully, because a very similar type of companies will go out of business now when the startup crash comes to India. The first type of companies that went bankrupt during the dot-com bubble were the ones who actually did not have a product market fit. Classic example of the dot-com bubble was this company called Pets.com. This company basically got all your pet products from dog food to leash to even dog towels. But the problem was that back then, unlike Amazon that sold 2.5 million books that were impossible for a bookstore to have, Pets.com barely sold anything that the store next street did not have. So they went out of business in spite of raising a ton of funding. So you see, while Amazon had an X factor that no other store could offer, Pets.com did not have a unique selling point to bank on. In our context in India, please don't feel bad if I say this, but the quick commerce boom in India looks like Pets.com to me. Why? Because if you look at the types of products that a person would normally order via a quick commerce service, it's either groceries, general store items, medicines and miscellaneous stuff to send and receive items. But since the labor cost in India is ultra low, all these local stores, that is your grocery store, your medical store, and even your laundry store, would easily deliver products for free at your doorstep by giving it to a chotu. And as far as sending and receiving items is concerned, how many times have you actually wanted to send and receive items with the willingness to pay 200 rupees? So you see, unless it's used by a company like Amazon or Reliance for bettering their delivery efficiency, it does not make sense to me. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to know your perspectives in the comments. Moving on, the second type of companies that went out of business during the dot-com bubble were the companies that spent way too much on unnecessary places, as in companies that took all the money from the investors and spent it on unviable channels. A classic example of the same was this website called ourbeginnings.com, and this company sold wedding invitations to brides and grooms. And as you can imagine, in spite of operating in a niche market with a razor thin margin, these guys spent $4 million into putting up a Super Bowl ad. And the fun fact is that during that time, they did not even have revenues of $4 million. So in our context, it's like an unviable business with very less revenue, spending money on IPL ads whose cost is more than its entire company's revenue. So not so surprisingly, even these companies went out of business. The third type of companies are the ones who fell prey to regulations and adverse market conditions. And the best example of the same is Napster. Napster was a revolutionary website that popularized music streaming. So in short, what they did was, while you had to buy CDs and DVDs from stores to listen to music, with Napster, you could directly download an MP3 file from the internet and listen to thousands of labels effortlessly for free. If you remember, Napster in US was like songs.pk in India and Pakistan. But you know what guys, suddenly they were slapped with lawsuits related to piracy and were eventually shut down. So you see, although the product was insanely awesome, since it was into a completely new market which had no regulations, when these regulations popped up in the market, Napster fell prey to it and went out of business. But after these regulations were established, Spotify emerged in the same space doing the exact same thing. But today, it is a billion-dollar company. This is how regulations bring a company down when it enters a completely new, unregulated market. This is what I am afraid could be the case with Zomato and Swiggy. And if you watched our ONDC episode, you would know that Swiggy and Zomato both have gold mines of customer data. And if they use it to open cloud kitchens, it could bring out a profitable food tech revolution in the market. But the government is very aggressively and perhaps unknowingly cutting down all possibilities of their profit. And with ONDC, even their delivery profits could actually be cut down. So if this goes on for long, even giant food tech companies like Zomato and Swiggy might get into trouble. The fourth type of companies are the ones that are just too ahead of their time. The best example of the same is this company called Z.com. This was nothing but the YouTube of the 1990s that was made for video streaming. But unfortunately, the broadband speeds were too slow. You had to install codecs in your browser which was too complex, and eventually Z.com did not pick up at all. But you know what guys? After Z.com shut down in 2003, just 2 years later, YouTube came up, and this is when broadband penetration had reached a healthy 60% and Adobe Flash had solved the codec problem. And again, in spite of operating in the same space doing the exact same thing, while Z.com failed, YouTube today is riding on $28 billion in profits. Now in the present case, you tell me, which company do you think is way ahead of its time? These are the types of companies that have failed and will fail in this and every other startup revolution to come. So the question is, these kind of startups are going to fail, that is fine. But as an investor, how do you actually decide what kind of startup will succeed? And more importantly, if you are starting a company today, what are the factors that the investors will consider before they invest into your startups? Well, according to me, there are 3 important pointers to look for other than profitability to understand the worthiness of a startup, both as an investor and as founders. Number 1 is barrier to entry. In simple words, what is it that your company is doing that is making it more and more difficult for the competitors to catch up? A classic example of the same is the comparison of edtech companies and YouTube creators. And if you remember from our edtech episode, these creators like Aman Dattarwal and Physics Wala and all these creators are actually creating a barrier to entry by creating a humongous subscriber base and by adding a ton of value to the subscribers, by which there is cultivation of trust. So tomorrow, there cannot be $1 million startup that just says that here's $1 million, please give me the trust of 1 million subscribers. So this trust factor and this humongous subscriber base that these YouTube creators are building, that itself is an asset that is a barrier to entry, which is very difficult for a rival to actually imitate. Similarly, Asian Paints and Bajaj Finance both have a tremendous amount of data, and with each passing day, they're collecting and processing more data, because of which they are making it very, very difficult for the rivals to actually catch up. The second thing to look for is the overlapping with the national agenda. Classic cases being hydrogen fuel, electric vehicles, and solar related companies. You see, guys, no matter how futuristic green hydrogen fuel related companies look like today, if the government wants these companies to be the future, they will survive. Similarly, if the government wants EVs to survive, even if it's not market viable yet, the subsidies will make them viable. And lastly, the most important factor that I look for is customer lifetime value versus customer acquisition cost. So in simple words, if you're spending 10 lakh rupees into marketing and you get 100 customers, your CAC or customer acquisition cost is 10 lakh rupees divided by 100, which is 10,000 rupees per customer. So you typically spend 10,000 rupees to get a single customer. And the customer lifetime value is the total revenue that a customer will generate during your engagement. So after downloading Skillshare, if the analytics say that people keep the subscription active for 1 year, then the average customer lifetime value is 180 rupees into 12 months of subscription, which is 2,160 rupees. So if a company like Skillshare has a customer acquisition cost of less than 500 rupees and a customer lifetime value of 2,160 rupees, it's an amazing number, because they're spending 500 rupees and they're getting 2,160 rupees in return for every single customer. But if their customer acquisition cost is 10,000 rupees for a lifetime value of 2,160 rupees, that would be very, very dangerous. Why? Because they are losing 7,840 rupees with each passing customer. Whereas if it's a brand like Byju's, even if they spend 20,000 rupees to acquire a single customer, it's absolutely worth it, provided they're selling a course worth 20,000 rupees or more. Because if they retain the user for the next year's course of 20,000 rupees, Byju's would be extremely profitable, because the next year they don't have to bear the customer acquisition cost. And at the same time, like we saw in our EdTech episode, if this cost of customer acquisition shoots up to 50,000-60,000 rupees, then that would be a disaster. So this ratio of average customer lifetime value versus customer acquisition cost is very, very important. The more this ratio is, the more is the scope for profit. The lesser this ratio is, the more risky the business gets. And this brings me to the most important part of the episode, and that are the study materials and a small assignment to help you understand the startup revolution in India. So if you want to be a wiser entrepreneur or an investor, please do this assignment sincerely. Before we move on, let me tell you about our partners of this episode, and that is Deserve. People, I've spoken about this fintech earlier, but for all those who are new, Deserve is an expert-led investment platform where experts build, manage, and optimize your long-term portfolio. The investment experts have a total of 15 plus years of experience managing over 50,000 crores of money for some of India's wealthiest families. Apart from that, Deserve members get access to benefits such as pre-IPO deals and global investment opportunities. For me personally, Deserve is hassle-free, and I do not have to worry about my wealth creation while focusing 200% on my content, which is extremely time-consuming. Currently, the markets are extremely volatile and unstable.
So before you're going for investing in a startup, what are the points you have to look it out? The gentleman has explained clearly. That is, now we will move on to the next one. Yeah.
There's not a single person on this planet who haven't heard of Starbucks, world's biggest coffee house company. But did you know that the former CEO of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, was born and raised in poverty, barely making ends meet? And when things got really tough, he even had to sell his blood a couple of times. This is the success story of Howard Schultz, how he went from living in poverty and struggling for money to survive to transforming Starbucks into a $100 billion company. And he was just a young boy who never stopped dreaming. And here is why you shouldn't stop too. He was born in a very poor family. He spent his childhood living in a small one-bedroom apartment from a public housing project. His father was an army vet and a truck driver and spent most of his life working low-paid jobs. When Howard was only 7 years old, while delivering diapers, his father fell on the ice and broke his leg. And because of this, he was fired from his job. And with no medical insurance and no savings, his family was struggling for money. That image of his father laying on the couch, feeling hopeless, crushed and defeated, left a permanent mark in his memory. It was one of the biggest defining moments in Howard's life. And to get away from all of these problems, he used to sit on the staircase in his building, dreaming of a better life. He played football in high school and earned an athletic scholarship to go to college, but he didn't want to play sports and decided to major in communications. So to pay for college, he had to take student loans and worked many odd jobs to make ends meet. Few times he even had to sell his blood for money to survive. After graduating from college, Howard worked at a ski lodge and as a salesman, but he had a desire to work at Starbucks. At that time, Starbucks had 3 owners and only sold coffee beans. So at the age of 29, after a full year of convincing the owners to hire him, he finally got a job at Starbucks. While on a business trip to Italy, he walked into an Italian coffee shop and he was fascinated by his experience while drinking coffee. He was amazed by the fact that the owners of the coffee shops actually knew their customers and they even called them by their names while serving them coffee. Excited, he traveled back to the US trying to convince the Starbucks owners to accept these incredible new ideas, but the owners rejected him. So Howard quit Starbucks and went on to create his own coffee company called Il Giornale. But he had no money to fund this company. In the course of the year I spent trying to raise money, I spoke to 242 people and 217 of them said no. Try to imagine how disheartening it can be to hear that many times why your idea is not worth investing in. It was a very humbling time. But eventually, enough people believed in his vision and decided to invest in his business. He worked extremely hard to open his first coffee shop where he could replicate the experience he had in Italy and finally implement his ideas. After a few years, Starbucks went bankrupt and Howard bought the company and became CEO of Starbucks. He rebranded his company with the Starbucks name and expanded across the United States. Today, Starbucks has more than 30,000 stores around the world and market value over $100 billion. And Howard has an advice for you. In life, you can blame a lot of people and you can wallow in self-pity. Or you can pick yourself up and say, listen, I have to be responsible for myself. I believe life is a series of near misses. A lot of what we ascribe to luck is not luck at all. It's seizing the day and accepting responsibility for your future. It's seeing what other people don't see and pursuing that vision. I feel so strongly that the reason I'm here is I dreamed big dreams. I dreamed the kind of dreams that other people said would not be possible. I cannot offer you any specific secret recipe for success, the perfect plan, how to reach the pinnacle of success in the business. But my own experience suggests that starting from scratch and achieving much more than what I dream about is quite possible. But if you wait for the perfect conditions, you'll never get anything done. But the good thing is, you can make a decision and take control now. Remember something. A year from now, you may wish you had started today.
Ja, mach mal.
Thanks for your patience. Up to now, we have seen some of the videos of ritual tours. For the past half an hour, 45 minutes, we have seen how the Mercedes Benz are getting ready. Now we will move on to some of the successful entrepreneur stories which were sent by the participants. Just now I will play the video. Yeah.
It was a really difficult time when I left my job. I was worried how to manage my expenses, and I was not ready to join another job. I thought, why not go for a business? But I had nothing to invest and was totally blank on what to do. Then suddenly my old house gave me a great idea. Young entrepreneurs are ruling the world today, and why can't I? My old house was located at a small town area near to a market. So I can easily establish it as a perfect guest house for tourists. I ran to speak with my father. What's the condition of our old house? I asked. It's a complete furnished one, you know, but no one to take care of it. I think I should sell it off. What do you say? My father replied. I have a great idea. We can start a good business. We would just take some days to clean our house and give it the look of a furnished guest house. I would deal with clients, and we can even arrange food from a nearby eatery if they want the facility. My father was very much excited hearing this concept, and he too agreed to start the business with me. It was an inspiration for me, and I felt confident knowing my father would always be there with good suggestions. We started preparing a plan how to renovate the house, and even he consulted with an interior designer who incorporated a nice look for our house. I posted advertisements on Quikr, OLX, and other classified sites, and even developed a small website with good pictures and details. I myself was a good writer and posted some nice content that even helped me to carry out a better SEO. I got my friend who agreed to do the SEO with a minimal charge. He studied the competitor sites and prepared a cycle with 3 options. 1. What are the main things that are important to reach the target audience? 2. Distribute data effectively to get instant results. 3. Maximizing the duration value of the contents across various channels. Apart from this, I gave priority to mobile SEO, as users today prefer to get everything inside that palm-sized device. It helped a lot to get good deals, and I realized the true importance of digital marketing. I didn't even miss out the pay-per-click option, and I was able to get more domestic clients earning huge profits that gave me the self-motivation to go ahead. Gradually, I was on the way to becoming a young entrepreneur, and it was a good feeling. I can't even express it in mere words. Today, I handle more than 5 guest houses with transport and restaurant facilities. Presently, my father is not with me, but his support in the beginning was a great thing I miss even today. I organize corporate tours today, dealing with international clients, and this is a great achievement in my whole life.
As all of you know, I started my company 5.5 years back, and today we run the largest hotel chain in India, the top 10 hotel chains in China, and of course continuing to make more impact worldwide. But that didn't start very easy. In my short experience, I learned one very important thing. Life presents you with 2 opportunities or 2 options at all points of times, not 4. Either a risk or, on the other hand, regret. I have learned always that whenever life presents you with either of these opportunities, taking a risk is always better than regretting not taking that risk many years from now. So what I want to talk about today is why risking it is better than being regretful about it in the long term. The first story that I want to talk about is that going after what you really, really want to do. All of us are in our 20s. All of you are in your early 20s, which means that you have very limited liabilities in life. All you have is the ability to dream and go out and make an impact. So next few years, you'd see some of your friends getting better CTCs. But if you really enjoy doing something else, it's okay to let that be and not be the top CTC candidate. You will see some of your friends taking world trips on your Facebook account, and then you would feel, I'm having to work 16 hours a day because of my passion. You'd have a lot of these sacrificial feelings every week. Remember, in the long term, it will all be worth it. Right after my 11th grade, actually, I had the opportunity of being so ambitious about entrepreneurship. I used to read about entrepreneurs every day. There were two companies I was very inspired by. I was inspired by Royal Enfield and I was inspired by Indigo Airlines. So I used to take weekend trains from Kota to Delhi to come and listen to those entrepreneurs. Most of the people around me said, on weekends, life is so good, and you end up going every weekend to listen to entrepreneurs whom we don't even know about. Then I lived in a Barsati for a year in Delhi to build really, really small businesses. Most of them, pretty insignificant. Those sacrifices were all worth it because I genuinely wanted to make a difference around myself. If each one of us have an ambition, it's okay to sacrifice the usual excitements in life for the next few years to do what you want to do. Which means it is okay to take a risk versus being regretful of not doing what you wanted to do. And 30 years later, being at a bar and telling your friends, you see this friend of mine who's done so well in his life, I could have also been like him if I had taken a risk. You don't want to be regretful like that. You want to be the person on the photo who's being talked about. The second one is living a very happy and ambitious life, but with a lot of discipline. Right after I decided that I want to be an entrepreneur, I used to read online on TechCrunch, Economic Times, and so on about entrepreneurs. And I felt what an easy thing it would be. You just choose a good idea, and if you're intelligent enough, it should just become successful. I was up for a reality check. When you show up for meetings 10 minutes late, people judge you. When you're not prepared before a conversation, people would judge you. And that would happen literally every hour of the day for 365 days multiplied by the years. That is the struggle that we would all go through before we start something really, really successful. All this period requires you to put significant amount of discipline. The third one, this is something that is very dear to me personally. Surrounding yourself with incredible people. It is my job to bring in solid leaders and entrepreneurs in the company who can build the company one level ahead of me so that OYO outgrows one individual and becomes an institution with strong leaders. It is hard because you have to give away always. But at the same time, you need to make sure that you bring people smarter than you. People who are going to challenge you, people who are going to be honest with you. I believe in all of your lives, you will always have options of surrounding yourself with people who can help you get better in life. They will be smarter than you, hence will challenge you to think better. Versus you will have people who will take you behind in life. There will be people who will make you feel that you're the smartest person in the room. Always choose to be with the former people around yourself because you're always the average of the 10 people around you. Your average will only improve if the people around you are smarter and brighter than you. Always strive to get better people around yourselves. That will ensure that you grow faster in life. The fourth one is something slightly more interesting. Travel as much as you can. That travel will be worth it. I have learned whatever I have learned in my short life by means of traveling across the world. I was born and brought up in the Odisha-Andhra Pradesh border, in a place where 80% population is below poverty line. So for me, that was all the place that I knew about. The first time I came to Kota, I felt that the world was much broader. When I came to Delhi, the world became even larger. And then for 3 months, every day, I stayed in a new bed and breakfast, new hotel, and so on, which got me thinking that this is so exciting. World over, every hotel chain is 100 rooms or larger. But worldwide, 95% of the hotels are 100 rooms or smaller. So I felt, why is nobody opening a hotel chain which is 100 rooms and smaller? Because there's so many of them. Then I felt there could be either of two reasons. One, this is an idea that so many people have tried and failed, and I'm probably the 1000th guy doing it. Or second, this is something that nobody's seen, and probably I'm the first guy seeing it, so I should go do it immediately. As an entrepreneur, you're designed to be an optimist. You always see the positive in anything around you. So I saw the positive that at most I'm going to fail, and if I fail, it's okay. I'm still young and I have very little liabilities in life. After that, when I started the company and I had just one hotel, I had the opportunity to be a Thiel Fellow. Peter Thiel started PayPal and he gives $100,000 to 20 people across the world. When I was there, for the first time in California, I saw how big and ambitious people were. Here, I was always told by my father that if you are able to earn more salary than I am, you have done very well in your life. But there, people were thinking about how do I make the lives of millions and billions of people across the world better. There were people thinking about innovation and how do you create new things that makes a difference in people's lives. All of these things that I learned inspired me to say, even if we are building the company here in Gurgaon, it doesn't mean that we can't dream to build the world's largest hotel chain. And that's what, of course, got us to open China last year. And we started the big ride from being India's largest hotel company to hopefully by 2022-23, the world's largest hotel company. But the point I'm trying to make is all of these learnings, the mistakes that you make, all of this comes because you see the world in a different view than just one city or one place. So whenever you get an opportunity to travel, from the smallest villages in India to the biggest cities in the world, kabhi bhi mauka mile, please take that hands down, even if that means that you might miss an important meeting or so on. But the amount of learnings that travel brings is incredible. I will end it with just one thing. Always strive for excellence. Never be okay by being number two. And it doesn't mean number one in academics only. You can choose what direction or what segment you want to be number one in. But whatever you choose to be, please always try to strive for excellence. Personally for me, 2 years after building Oyo, a lot of people told me that, Ritesh, why don't you sell the company, take some money and have a happier life? And then I went back and I thought, when I'm 40 years old or 50 years old, what will make me happy? Will I be happy of building something where you land at any part of the world and you see an Oyo signage and point to that and say, I built this company? Or would I be happy if I was the person who made some money earlier in my life? The answer was straightforward. That is the strive for excellence that I request all of you to have, because that will make sure that you're always proud of the risks you took versus being regretful of the things that you left on the table. All of us will get opportunities in our life. Never take 2 steps behind saying, I don't know whether I can do it, whether I cannot do it, whether I can deliver or not deliver. You should have the self-confidence and belief in yourself, by means of which many years from now, be very proud that you risked it versus regretting it. Which means that long term, that weekends, those evenings, you could have had a better time. I'm not asking you to stop that. You should have a great time. But when you're working, put in all the effort and discipline that you can behind it. So you don't have to regret later that in my early years I could have worked harder and I could have been the best person in the field that I started working on. Each one of you will create your own stories in the future and will end up talking about it many years from now. With that, thank you so much for having me over.
This is the story of OIO. He has been given 4 points. One is discipline, confident, and traveling. And other way, the last one he said that strive for excellence. Motivate your students to go for excellence. The next one we will move on to the very famous one. Yeah.
Friends, everybody, good evening. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, TDX, SSN, giving me opportunity on behalf of Dabawala. For the first time in my life, after 550 sessions, I am delivering first time in 18 minutes. Give me best wishes. I will complete it. Friends, as far as Mumbai Dabawalas are concerned, in Mumbai, these people are excellent. I am going to speak about the story. Believe me, you will learn a lot, provided you must have that passion to listen to them and to follow them, how they are working in Mumbai, friends. Basically, many people believe that Dabawalas means they are caterers. Let me tell you, Dabawalas are not caterers. Tiffin is yours and food contained in this is also yours. What we are doing in Mumbai, we are delivering your tiffin from your home to workplace before lunchtime. And lunch is over, we will deliver empty tiffin in the evening at home on the same day. It means we are doing 2 deliveries in a day. Friends, in Mumbai, you cannot carry tiffin yourself. The reason, you start very early morning in the morning. Even you want to reach at home 9 o'clock, you may start 6 o'clock. You don't want your mother or wife should cook 5 o'clock. So you cannot carry, you should carry your tiffin. Second reason, you cannot carry tiffin. The reason, crowded local train. In Mumbai, it's very difficult to board in local train with empty hand. Taking tiffin is out of question for you. You cannot carry yourself. So you want Dabawala in Mumbai to carry your tiffin. We believe that home cooked food is most hygienic food. The reason, it have love and affection of your mother and wife. So we want you should eat home cooked food. That is Mumbai Dabawala. Friends, these people believe in God, Ganesha, Jnaneshwara. They are Warkari Sampradaya people. This business started before 1890. हिंदी में कहा जाता है, हम अंग्रेज जमाने के जेलों तो नहीं है, लेकिन हम अंग्रेज जमाने के डब्बे वाले जरूर है. Because we are delivering from 1890, friends, 1890. In 1891, Dabawala, one customer. As on today, we will see, we are having 5,000 Dabawalas and 200,000 customers. It means one Dabawala can carry 40 tiffins. That is the maximum weight he can carry. That can have 60-65 kg they are carrying. In crowded local train in Mumbai, friend, they all are average 8th grade schooling. 50% Dabawalas are illiterate. They do not know reading, writing. But suppose they want to deliver tiffin in SSN college. Being illiterate, they know this is SSN. Because tiffin should be delivered in SSN. Literacy of work. Friend traveling 60 kilometers, 70 kilometers, 8 to 9 hours they believe. Ownership of 8 to 9 hours. But morning 3 hours are war time. Why? Customers should deliver tiffin in time. In 120 years, not a single time it happened. Your lunch time started, Dabawala not yet came. Impossible. Impossible. They will not tell you trains are late in Mumbai because trains are running every day late in Mumbai. We cannot come late. Friends, so commitment, so passion, structure is there. They don't know what is structure. Dabawala says this is stature. When I spoke on Dabawala, it was stature, structure. What he answered? No problem, sir. If stature is strong, patient goes to bed. If structure is strong, tiffin goes to customer. That's it. That's the belief. Friends, the last is what this Mukadam. All you know, Mukadam is group leader. We have 10, 20, 30 Dabawalas, one group. In one group, the highest age member is a group leader. He controls whole activities of the group, of the members. Friends, so passionate. Group leader is not getting single rupee extra income, but he controls the whole activities. Why? He get the opportunity to become the group leader. Friends, see working of Nutan Mumbai Tiffin Box Supplier Association. Very first is error rate 1 in 16 million transactions. Can you imagine? Because Dabawala believes that as you are giving claps, my seconds are reducing. So please listen to me more. Friends, one error not there. This one error disclosed by qualified people. Dabala says we don't have any error because error is horror. Don't look into mirror, it is danger. Don't do error. That they believe, friends. Can you imagine this? Friends, they got Six Sigma, Phuket and without application. They got Six Sigma certification. Now nobody can got in the world Six Sigma certification without application. Dabala got. Imagine, friends. That too without technology. Their technology is their brain. They believe this is computer and this is computer cover. Like that they feel. Everything is in the mind. 40 customers' name, number, address, everything in their mind, friends. How much they charge, my dear? Per month, 350 rupees. If you calculate, per day it comes 11 to 12 rupees. Friends, in Mumbai, a courier man charge for a small delivery 15 rupees, a small delivery. They do 2 deliveries and charging 11 to 12 rupees. Why? Customers should have economically feasible. If we increase, customer will discontinue our services. Because customers should sustain, we charge less. And how much they earn? 5 to 6,000 per month average. Friends, if you work in Mumbai for 10 months, 2 months, suppose you posted to Chennai, sir, Dabala will take charges only for 10 months, not for 12 months. Because they believe, I served you 10 months, not 12 months. My child goes to school for 7 months, bus wala charge for 12 months, not for 7 months. Is it right? But Dabala charge only for 10 months. Why? Customer is a God. They believe my customer mera Bhagwan hai. They feel that you are a God, friends. Work is worship. And see, they want extra income. But even they want bonus without condition. Sometimes, some customer refuse to pay bonus. If suppose one customer refuses to pay bonus, he will not discontinue your services. Why? If I discontinue,